There is something about Donkey Kong Bonanza that is never mentioned. Having this game for almost 3 months now, I can confidently, but also regrettably say that this game is pretty underwhelming. With its rather novel premise of being able to destroy almost everything in your surrounding environment, it feels like not much thought was given to anything else besides that premise. The entire game could be encapsulated with a simple phrase, monkey see, monkey do. Despite that, the game does manage to redeem itself somewhat as you play along, especially near the end of the main plotline. Do be warned, as this video will contain spoilers. This game features a plot so non-existent that it makes a Pokemon game's plot look like a masterpiece.
No way! You're the worst!
The overall setup is that you are playing as Donkey Kong, who is part of a team digging for Bananza gems, the equivalent to bananas in this game. Lo and behold, a bad guy comes out of nowhere and steals all the bananas. Now the bad guy is making his way to the planet core to wish for infinite bananas from the Bananza root, and you need to stop him because he stole all the bananas. Remember when I said that not much else thought was given to anything else? You are literally going bananas for bananas. And you find Pauline on your journey, and she wants to return home to the surface. So you two now team up for the rest of the game.
Find a way home together?
To Nintendo's credit, they did well to utilize the Switch 2's improved hardware for this game. You are presented with many diverse environments for your prolonged journey, with each sublayer having its own unique inspiration. The tutorial begins in an underground layer, which makes sense considering you start off mining for bananas. You will eventually make your way to a tropical level, rocky layers, animal-inspired locales, a racing sublayer, and much more. My personal favorite was the resort sublayer, which to me looked the best and introduced the rainbow terrain that you can grab onto and fly high up into the air with. There are a plethora of mini levels inside each sublayer which present unique challenges and reward optional bananas. Donkey Kong Bonanza would become a bland game very quickly if it wasn't already, if not for the fact that the game features up to 5 separate transformations that are designed to help traverse the diverse environments you will come across in your adventure. The first transformation is called Kong Bananza, which is simply put, Super Saiyan DK. It makes sense that this Bananza is the first one you unlock, as the main premise of the game is to freely destroy anything, and the Kong Bananza makes that an easier feat to accomplish. The other transformations provide the player utilities that the Kong Bananza does not. The second Bananza you can unlock is Zebra Bananza. This one is quite literally the most useless transformation. You just run faster. That's pretty much it. There are small segments in the game that force you to run fast, otherwise the ground crumbles beneath your feet. However, in a game that's designed to demolish the world, why would you ever want to run fast in it? You would think unlocking a flying Bananza would make life easier. Instead of only destroying your environment, you can fly over it and see where there might be points of interest before accidentally destroying it. Yeah, you wish that was the case. Ostrich Bananza only lets you glide, not fly. Given that ostriches in real life can't fly, it feels generous that they even allowed this Bananza a glide mode. But why not make it a pigeon instead? The egg bombs could have easily served as a stand-in for a pigeon's notorious poop. Now I have to admit, Elephant Bananza was quite fun to use. Being able to absorb and clear away terrain much faster than bashing my fist against it was a welcome change. And listening to the best Bananza theme out of all of them was certainly very enjoyable. I have some serious issues with Snake Bananza. It would be almost as useless as Zebra Bananza if not for the ability to temporarily freeze enemies in their place. I mean, you can jump higher with Snake Bananza, but what is even the point of that when DK can climb almost any surface? There were times where the game forces you to jump to a randomly floating platform, but it feels like the devs chose to force the player to use the jump ability rather than naturally integrating it into that level. Similar to many modern day games, character customization made its way into DK Bananza. Being able to customize both DK and Pauline's outfits has some serious advantages. Each sublayer allows you to collect fossils which you can use to purchase different outfits from that sublayer that enhance either DK's Bananza abilities, duration of those transformations, or other overall benefits like damage resistance, among others. You can also use skill points you acquire from collecting bananas to upgrade DK in many regards, such as maximum health, and certain aspects of his Bananza transformations, among other upgrades. Punching the environment does allow you to collect different items and resources, such as fossils, gold, treasure chests, items, and even vanadium gems. But the whole gimmick of the game is pointless. Destroying the world is the selling point for the game, but for actual gameplay and story reasons, there is very little purpose it truly serves. Sometimes, the game doesn't even feel like a platformer, because instead of climbing or jumping onto platforms, you can simply demolish them, at which point I'd ask myself, so where is the platform? Featuring a younger Pauline is clearly designed to appeal to kids, whereas a big terrain punching monkey would appeal mostly to young boys. A singing girl would appeal to young girls instead. It helps the game reach a very broad audience. Not to mention, the best part of the game is easily how well voice acted Pauline was. The little quirks and remarks Pauline makes along your journey adds depth to the game and character that was otherwise very much lacking. Pauline goes through a small character arc where she loves to sing, but is too shy to sing in front of crowds. She eventually becomes comfortable singing in front of crowds, and at the end is forced into a decision on either saving DK with her singing, or not singing to disable Void Kong from reaching the Banandium route. It would be a decent character arc if that was the prime focal point of the game, but as mentioned earlier, the focal point of the game is to monkey around for bananas. The story begins very shallow as mentioned earlier, but it does pick up a bit at the end. Once you reach the Banandium route before the bad guy, he is ultimately defeated in traditional Saitama style by King K. Rool, who is even more of a bad guy? I don't know, just go with it, alright? I'm not an expert in Donkey Kong lore. This is where the game tries to become more interesting. You are tasked with chasing King K. Rool. Once you defeat him, the Banandium route begins the process to fulfill both DK and Pauline's wishes. Suddenly, King K. Rool comes back and swoops the Banandium route, which is followed by a final boss fight that is so ridiculously challenging. Whereas the enemies you fight throughout the game are a pushover, and the bosses are designed to be punching bags. This final fight against King K. Rool had me regretting not mastering certain Bananza transformations that otherwise proved to be virtually useless throughout the entire game. Nintendo made a game that cultivates to the inner child of adults, but also a game that attracts kids all alike. At the end of the day, this game is not my cup of tea. There is now DLC available for this game that I do not see any reason whatsoever to purchase. Based on online discourse, it seems to be a common understanding that the DLC was going to be part of the main game, but Nintendo decided to moo milk the fanbase even more. The main gameplay felt very shallow throughout my experience, but it seems like the vast majority of players are enjoying terraforming and the brief instance of any semblance of a story. If you're looking for a game that wants to reward players with a wealth of combat, engaging plotlines, and diverse overworld storytelling, then I'd highly recommend skipping out on this game. But if you want to rampage to your heart's content, then go smash some bananas.